Well, I was really proud how hard we played all the way to the end. We're down 2 scores at halftime and certainly throughout the second half. But the young men kept playing. We made a play, scored once on offense, made a touchdown fumble return on defense. We kept playing and gave ourselves a chance to at least, have an opportunity to throw a jump ball in the end zone. Unfortunately, we just didn't get it off. But, a lot of big plays, good and bad. Certainly the weather conditions were horrific, but both teams had to play in them, and there were a lot of turnovers by both teams. But certainly give Stephen F. Austin credit; they made one more play than we did, and but I'm really proud how hard we played. But their physical maturity on both their lines really showed, and we struggled with that on a consistent basis, whether to be able to run the ball on offense or give protection to the quarterback to attempt to throw the ball, or them just kind of leaning on us and with their size and us getting off blocks and getting the right fits, because we gave their running back a lot of lanes to run the ball. Well, he'd rushed for well over 100 yards against Texas State the week before. I think they've committed more to the run game, which I'd mentioned last week. Certainly the weather conditions precipitated that to an even higher level, and he ran very physical. At times, very poor tackling on our part allowed him to, get yards after contact. We had him bottled up for no gain or a -yard play, and he was able to, get out and a 66-yard touchdown run. But ran very physical, very strong back. Very nice compliment to all the weapons they have at the other skill positions. Oh, it was terrible, and I think that they would tell you the same thing. And it just kept coming down in sheets and waves, and it certainly made the conditions of gripping the football and hanging on the ball, because everything's wet. I mean, and we went out, without our pads and jerseys on during pregame, and but we couldn't keep anything dry. I think at the end of the day, it was about the team that was going to be able to effectively run the football, and they were much more effective at running the ball, and they stacked the line of scrimmage and dared us to throw at times, and we really struggled with Jefferson and their other defensive end, and they were able to keep constant pressure on the offensive line. And some of that's maturity, some of it's talent, technique, but we are who we are, so we'll learn from it and grow, and we'll look at some personnel moves from this. But whenever you're dealing with a young line, there's always a physical maturity aspect that comes with not just playing experience, but these kids are going to be bigger and stronger over the next 2-3 years. And Stephen F. Austin was able to present more of a junior, senior, defensive front, guys that have been playing college football, a lot of off-season programs, and experience there at middle linebacker with Epperson. So give those guys credit, because they forced us, because of the weather conditions, to have to be able to run the football, and we just couldn't do it consistently. Yeah, and what's really encouraging about that is he's just a redshirt freshman. He's got the rest of this year and 3 more years. He's 6'6", 252, great young man, hard worker. He's just learning how to play, Division I football. Played at a somewhat small school in the Nashville, Tennessee area. He started the last few games for us, so yeah, I mean, he had a great stat line. I think forced several fumbles, recovered 3, returned 1 for a touchdown, had a couple tackles for loss, and maybe 5 or 6 overall tackles. So that's good for him, and certainly his play, really helped us, with field position and points, obviously, on the fumble return. So I guess that makes at least 1 every week, and so. I don't think our confidence is damaged by this loss. I think we're disappointed because there are many, many opportunities where we could have changed the outcome with just 1 more block, 1 more tackle, 1 more, execution in the special teams. We had an opportunity twice to block a punt, and just didn't get it done. And it was there. We left some points on the field, but so did they. It was very, very treacherous conditions to be kicking and returning kicks and running with the ball.
Do you think that was one of the worst, weather conditions that you've ever coached in?
Yeah, there's only one that's even in the same conversation, and that was when I was an assistant at McNeese. We played Northwestern, and the difference in that is it let up at the end of the game, But the wind in that game, there was equipment trunks just blowing down the sidelines on the old artificial turf, so there was nothing to resist it. So, but yeah, I mean, it was as bad as I've ever been in. Well, we're excited to be playing at home. You know, we've had to make this trip to Thibodeau the last 2 years, and a very difficult place to get to, very difficult place to play. This will be the first time that Coach Stubbs, this coaching staff, and the majority of that Nicholls State team has made the journey to Arkansas. So, but you know, you watch them on film. Landry Klon's in his second year starting at quarterback. They've got a very nice controlled passing game. Their offensive linemen seem to be a little healthier. They've got another year of maturity under their belt. Nice receivers, very good tight end. They've got a couple of big backs, Washington being one who gave us fits last year, particularly early in the game. They do run some wildcat, you know, which is something we'll have to make sure we're prepared for, and hopefully clean some things up from the Sam Houston game. Defensively, they're a 3-down front team, very active out of that. They have those 5 intermediate players, linebackers and safeties, and a very sophisticated blitz package out of that. So, and then special teams, one of the best punters in the country in Kemp, and he's also handling their kickoffs as well. Always talent down in Louisiana. Nicholls is always very talented, very skilled. I think they've got 3 defensive backs playing in the National Football League right now, Bobby Felder and, of course, LaMarcus Ladarius Webb, who starts for the Ravens, 2 of them. So, you know, we'll have our work cut out for us, but we are pleased to be at home. We'll need to have a good week of work and put a good plan together, and then we're a little beat up. You know, you're 5 weeks into the season, nothing outside of Anthony Blackman that's season ending. But some guys that we're going to have to watch this week and make sure they get you know, they get healthy and they can get to the, you know, to the game at 6 o'clock on Saturday. Well, I mean, I think probably some of the younger kids are maybe even a little bit confused. You know, that how can we beat, you know, such a good team? And then you know, Stephen F. Austin's picked second in the league for a reason. I mean, they're very, very good, very talented. I mean, we're not going to see probably a more complete receiver than Cordell Robertson. We'll face some good backs, but probably none better than Johnson. We won't see a bigger offensive line. Attaway, you know, is the preseason first-team all-conference quarterback. Jefferson's a consensus All-American. Epperson's been a 2-year starter at linebacker. They've got, you know, several young men. I mean, in the secondary that have started a long time, the Aubrey brothers. I mean, they're a very talented team. I mean, it's a team capable of winning in this conference. And you know, going on the road, it's always a challenge, regardless of who you're playing. But then when you know, factor in the weather and the talent at SFA, again, only 2 years removed from back-to-back championships, you can see why some of our young kids just don't know. I don't think we've lost our confidence. I think they're going to be anxious to get back to Saturday, but again, it's the preparation that we've got to put in during the week, this week, that you know, will, you know, hopefully determine how we play on Saturday. Well, I think that's everybody in the league. I mean, everybody's got at least 14, 15 to 20 guys back, and you know, that experience speaks a lot. That physical maturity speaks to a lot, and but we got them at home, and we've generally played, you know, pretty well at home the last 7, 8 years, and we're counting on a good week of practice and getting healthy, and then of course our young men performing well, you know, on Hall of Fame weekend. A big game. It's a huge game to get back on track.